Hi guys, this is Una from u.ok.com.au, and remember to subscribe, follow and all of that so you'll be the first one to hear the latest episode, and check out my workshop and art and all of that on my website. Today I have Shani.
Hi.
That's right pronounced.
You did a good job. It's Shani. Yeah.
Shani. And Shani lives in
Beaconsfield,
and she has a really interesting place here where she lives. And we'll get to that a little bit later. So the first question is, usually people define themselves by jobs and all of that. Take that out of the equation.
Yep.
Then who is Shani?
It's a very difficult thing to do when people usually define themselves by their job. I call myself a retro suburban.
Okay.
So what a retro suburban does is they try and set their life up to be as sustainable as possible in preparing for an uncertain future as far as climate change and peak oil, economic issues. So trying to make themselves as prepared as they can for those sorts of things.
Wow.
Both in their own life and also working into the wider community.
Well, then Iceland would be a good place because Iceland is sustainable.
Iceland has an incredible reputation for its sustainability. Yes, it does.
Okay, so how is it being, Shani?
Well, right now it's fantastic.
Yes.
It has been very difficult at times in the past, and it's been fantastic at times in the past.
Yeah.
But right now I feel very privileged. We were actually talking about it this morning. There's a wonderful book called The Art of Frugal Hedonism.
Oh.
And I think that's what we've got here. We have a very frugal life, but we have a very hedonistic life. We have a lot of people that share with us. We have a lot of kind of sensual and exciting things that happen, but in a really simple way. It's lovely.
So tell us a little bit about this little farm place in the middle of Beaconsfield.
Okay, well, Ecoburbia is a few different things. So to start with, it's an urban infill alternative. So what we've got here is an old quarter-acre block, 1,000 square metres. And instead of subdividing it and building two big houses, we divided up the house that was here and made 4 tiny houses, really. So tiny houses are very popular at the moment. This is 4 tiny houses under the one umbrella, if that makes sense.
And you can't move it.
And we can't move it, no. So that means we have a population here that would be around about the same as if we had 2 big houses. And that allows us to have all that extra land for what we call a urban garden. So we have a lot of food production out the back. We have goats, we have chickens. We're planning on some guinea pigs and meat chickens. And
what was the start of all of this?
The start, I'll just finish off what's here first if I can. So as well as those 2 things, we're also a bit of a hub for the community. So we run a lot of workshops from here. And we do lots of free things for the community as well. So part of Ecoburbia is a business. And we get paid for a lot of the work that we do. And we also act as a bit of a hub for the local community, for people who want to experience. Our goats are about to have babies, and there will be a lot of visitors when the baby goats come.
Okay.
Yeah. So our motivation was really, I suppose, a concern and probably even a fear about the future. And it's very easy to fall into despair and think, look, what can I actually do? And so in about 2008, we both started to get very concerned about that and decided to make a change to our lives to make them kind of as sustainable as we could. And because we're both very sharing people and we can handle, we don't need a lot of a private space, so we were able to kind of go out there and share that with others.
And so if we would go into your art here, is this the dream life? Is that the part of all of this?
Well, it was funny, wasn't it? Because when you asked me to start doing this, I said, but I'm already living my dream life.
Yes.
And so, but when you told me about the example of someone who was doing quite a simple thing,
Yes.
what I have here is, in the long distant future, I'm quite content to not know about the future.
Oh, yes.
I don't know whether it will be a good future. I don't know whether it will be a bad future. I don't have plans for the 10 years, etc.
Yes.
I know we have created a house where I can live and die here, so I don't need to move. I have no interest in traveling the world, any of those kind of traditional things. So on one side of my picture, it's all about letting go, who cares, whatever happens is the only thing that could have. And then there's a lot of kind of jobs and activity in my short term, maybe 1 to 5 years part of my picture.
I am curious about these things. What can we say about this?
As a summary,
Yes.
they're all about being more resilient.
Yes.
So all of
Yes.
these things are about being more, and I don't like the word independent because I think that is something we shouldn't be aiming for. We actually should be aiming to be more dependent on people. And that's why here, when it talks about the West Beaky Bunch, and that's a new group that my friend and I have started to try and develop more links with the 350 houses around us.
Connect with people.
So yeah, so we knocked on the door of 350 houses and gave them a party invitation. And we had a party, 80 people came.
Wow.
And now we have various activities that are for that group of people. So I want to live in a little community of West Beaconsfield, we're calling it, that is linked. So that's interdependent.
Because that's the thing with nowadays, people are so disconnected with each other and that feel lonely and
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is brilliant.
Well, and that, if I look at my picture, a lot of it is to do with that. So this side here is talking about raising some of the garden that we have, so it is the same height as the verge, so we can connect to the verge, have some gardens there that other people come and have their veggie gardens, and also connected houselings who are connected to us through gardening, maybe cooking. We're not a good cook, so if we had someone there that would cook for the garden, from the garden a couple of times a week, and we could share that. We need more time in the garden, and so we're planning both more garden space, which we'll need more time. So we're planning to have an even smaller little tiny house out the back for someone who doesn't pay rent but works in the garden. So, for an hour or an hour and a half every day.
Is this both of your dream, or who was...
Well, it's interesting. We recently sat down and kind of wrote a little bit of what our dream was, and very well connected. We had very similar kind of visions and dreams for it, so that's really helpful.
Oh, that's really cool that you are that as a couple. That
it helps enormously. So Tim is down. One of my things is a new bike shed, and once we get the new bike shed, I will be able to have a nursery for my seedlings. At the moment, they're all lying on the ground out there. So he is making the bike shed, which means the nursery can happen, which means we can make more garden space, which means that the soil that is used there can go onto the driveway. So it's all dependent on various different activities happening in order.
And these here on the right side?
Well, I don't know what that is. Who knows?
Wow.
We can't know. From several perspectives, I don't know what might happen with my health.
Yeah.
I don't know what might happen with the health of the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know one thing, and that is that our economic system won't be able to continue the way it is.
Yes.
I don't know what that will be like when that happens.
Yeah.
So this is part of going, I'm not worrying about that.
Yeah.
And I also have a sort of personality that doesn't work into the long, long term.
Yes.
So my partner does.
Yes.
We always joke and say he knows what's going to happen in 5 years.
Yeah.
I know what day of the week it is. So
yeah, I'm a little bit like you in that sense. I just do one day at a time.
Yeah.
I usually don't know what I'm doing tomorrow.
yeah, yeah. I'm a bit more organised than that.
Yeah.
I know about 4 months in advance. I have to.
But that's the thing sometimes, because if I plan 2 months ahead, then I start getting just anxious about it or something like that. So letting go.
These little guinea pigs are here. We can't have rabbits. There's a new myxomatosis virus out, so rabbits are hard, but we want to see if we can start raising guinea pigs and getting a bigger guinea pig so that they're more useful for meat for people, and also some meat chickens. So at the moment we're producing a lot of vegetables, but we're not producing a lot of meat, a lot of protein, and we're not vegetarian, so that's something as well. And I think the last little thing here is about me more personally, not so much a little bit about Ecoburbia, but sharing it. I'm very good at facilitating groups of 50 people, up to 50, but I'm not very good at large groups of 200, 300, 400. I have given a TED talk, but I would like to be more comfortable with bigger crowds. So that's a big, and you can only really get that by practicing.
Yes.
So I want in the future to try and get some opportunities to do that. So if any of your listeners have a conference that they want a speaker at, just let me know. Yeah.
So this is just your dream life. So it's not any huge, not like going out into space or anything.
No,
like
they're
that.
very small things. They are small little things that are adding to the Ecoburbia.
But
Probably the biggest change is that link into the community.
Yeah.
We used to live in a street called Hulbert Street, and we had such strong links that the street we lived in organised a fiesta.
Yeah.
And the last year that fiesta ran, there were 7,500 people
Wow.
that came, and those people in the street organised it.
Wow.
And so you asked earlier, do you miss where you were living before?
Yeah.
I miss a community that was connected enough
Yes.
to be able to organise something like that.
Yeah.
So that was a small number of houses, and what I want to work on now is seeing if we can replicate some of that connectivity.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not going to be the same,
Yeah.
but in a bigger kind of area.
What do you feel about if the people know all about you and all about your life? And
We have no problem with that.
no.
So we haven't had an open house here. Oh, we do. We run a tour here 4 times a year. And we had several open houses in Hulbert Street, and everywhere was open. Our bedroom, bathroom had examples of toothpaste and sanitary pads and all sorts of things.
But do
We're
they
very
know
open.
about your personal life though? Like,
It depends on who it is,
Yeah.
I think. So we have a lot of people who meet us, at a conference or a talk, and might come around and have a cup of tea and stuff. And they wouldn't know too much about our personal life or our mental health issues or any of that sort of stuff. But I'm pretty open about the mental health issues that I have.
yes.
I think it's pretty important for people to see someone who has bipolar,
Yeah.
who is operating very well in the world.
Yes.
Because a lot of the time with mental health issues like that, the more serious ones especially, well, not that any mental health issue is serious or not serious, but you hear someone living on the street or
Yes.
presenting an emergency, high as a kite, or those sorts of things.
Yes.
And so you don't often get to meet someone
Who lives a normal life.
Yeah. And what I usually try and do is make sure that the person understands that I live a normal life and sees a bit of that normal life before I will tell them that. Like, it's not like I walk in and go, guess what, I'm bipolar, But if I feel the time is right and the person is receptive to that, I do feel that I have kind of a responsibility to share that. Yeah.
And I admire that, because that's why also I've written a book and all of that it's not perfect, but I want to show people that you don't have to be perfect to make things happen.
It's like when you asked me to draw the picture, and I
Yes.
said, if I'd known you were going to get me to do that, I wouldn't have agreed. I would have told him to, And I
said
quite
it's
enjoyed
fun.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You're right. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a good process.
Most people do afterwards. They're like, oh, I'm stoked over this.
Yeah,
It's quite good.
Yeah.
So before, if we go back in time, how was your life then? We've spoken a little bit about that.
All right. Well, I grew up in Canada, and ironically, it was only about 5 years ago that I realised I had repeated my childhood.
Oh.
So my father was a teacher,
Yeah.
so I became a teacher. My mother was really the manager and ran a very similar farm situation to what we've got.
Yes.
Small scale, but very similar sort of setup. And then we moved here when I was 15.
Yeah.
And my first jobs were with people with disabilities.
Mm.
So I worked for a long time in schools.
Yeah.
Not a long time, actually. I became a principal very early on, after about 5 or 6 years of teaching. And my last position was down at Fremantle Primary School.
Mm.
And I loved working in schools.
Yeah.
I loved being a principal. It's a wonderful job. And I had a wonderful career as well. I was quite well respected because I worked very hard. Quite well respected for my management skills and dealing with people and all of that sort of stuff. So I think I told you I had an unfortunate sort of bullying incident.
Yes.
That led to me needing to have some time off.
Yes. And we were talking about it, and you, the principal, being
Yeah.
often.
Imagine that. You don't often hear about it, but
No.
a lot of principals hide very difficult situations, or they become a little bit remote.
Yeah.
See, I was still being a principal in a very feminine way, in a way, a very consultative way, and that doesn't suit, and that didn't suit this person very well. So I had to take some time off, and in that time off, I was encouraged to question whether I could imagine a life, which initially I could not, and I was very angry and grieving about that, and still do sometimes. I miss that enormously. But then we kind of developed this idea for a business, and initially we ran a bed and breakfast, and we worked together on doing education stuff and doing a lot of renovations, and that life has been extremely different and very rewarding as well. So I feel like I've kind of had two careers, really, in a lot of ways. Yeah, my partner has always worked he used to be a stonemason, so he's always worked in the building industry for himself. So he's never had a job for more than 3 months. Like the longest contract he's ever had would have been 3 months, whereas I had had a fortnightly income since I was 15. So we arrived here and I got a job pretty well straight away, and had fortnightly kind of income.
But
from
you
that
guys
point.
somehow make it all happen.
Yeah.
And being...
It was a lot of work. 2015 we did a lot of the work here.
Yeah.
Tim got chronic fatigue, so he's still suffering with that.
Oh.
And I think that was basically just totally overwork from managing the major renovations that we did here. Just about every place that you see a wall used to be a window, and everywhere you see a window used to be a wall. We've done a lot of work. It's been a huge project.
Wow. But you are living the life that most people would want now. Like, do you have much worry? Except for the universe.
Yeah, I would say that is my biggest worry, is not for myself.
Yeah.
I don't have any children.
Yeah.
I don't have... I have experienced highs and lows that other people don't get to experience. And so in some ways that leaves me resilient in a way, because I thought, well, fuck it. I've sorry, probably can't speak.
No, it's all right.
I've gone from here, I've been here,
Yeah.
it can't get any worse than those two extremes.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I don't have worries. I mean, I worry about the goat, she's about to give birth, and I worry about who's going to do the dishes, and I worry about whether I can get my summer veggies in time.
Yeah.
Like, I worry about those things.
That's so
like
cute.
a farmer would
Yeah.
worry, I suppose.
Yeah. But it's all going to happen either way.
But it's all going to happen either way.
Yeah.
And so my only worry is not even so much about, climate change or peak oil or any of those things. My worry is about how people will cope and whether people will join together with that or whether they will split and be angry and aggressive and difficult with each other. That would be the only thing I'd worry about. Yeah.
Well, we have seen much of it, that people have been starting to awaken, like they call it. So more and more people are just sharing the love, aren't they?
Yeah, we just need to do it a damn sight faster than we're doing it. Next 3 months. It needs to happen now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In my mind.
Last question is, are you on the path of making your dreams come true? And
yeah, I think I am. Yeah, I think I am. I think I also have realised, though, in my life that you can have different dreams. And you never know when life is going to do something that means that you have to swap and change to a different dream. So I think we talked about the fact that both for you and I, we're not necessarily long-term planners.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the reasons why, because you have to have some flexibility.
Yes.
And be very positive in yourself that you can create something, even if it's totally different to what it is that you imagine now.
Yeah.
And if what you have now has for some reason been difficult for you or despairing for you or whatever, you might have a different thing that pops up from that and you don't know what it is.
Yes.
And that's okay as well.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, thank you so much, Shani.
You're welcome. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
We'll go see if the goat's pregnant. Well, she's pregnant. We'll go see if the goat's starting to give birth.
Yes, we'll do that. Thank you so much.
All right, no worries.
This is Una from u.ok.com.au, and remember to subscribe so you'll be the first one to receive the latest, and check out my art, workshops and all of that, and we'll see you later. Namaste.